Before we go any further, I have one topic I have to discuss.
Let's hear it.
Robots. Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid-taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk
stand
about
of his
race
mic.
cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever. All right, you ready to do this, Landon?
I am. I sound sick. Sorry, folks.
It's all right. Hello and welcome. It's a brand new Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by my good buddy, Landon Cassill. It is October 29th, Wednesday, and we are heading towards the championship finale for all three series in NASCAR. But this week has been big with tons of NASCAR court information coming out. We've learned more about the charters and the financials behind the charters, and even a possibility of this trial going away altogether. We'll dive into some of that. We'll look ahead to Phoenix. We've got some global motorsport stuff as well. But Landon, before we go any further, I have one topic I have to discuss.
Let's hear it.
Robots. It's been the talk of Twitter. My timeline is filled with it. And I have just been blown away for the last couple of days. Some context to this. There's a company called 1X that released this humanoid robot.
This is
that
not
comes
an
out in
ad, by the way.
2026. What's that?
This is not an ad, by the way.
Not an ad. No, it's not an ad. No. I'm just blown away by this stuff. And I've followed a lot of the robotics stuff, but I felt like it was, especially the humanoid, was, 5-10 years away. These guys are releasing this Neo robot in 2026. You can buy it for $499 a month or $20,000 straight up. And it's supposed to do like all your, chores at home. There's a lot to unpack, but the videos are just so amazing, and it feels like we are in the future. Like we are headed towards Star Wars. Pick your favorite sci-fi. That's where we're going. And I've just been blown away by it. And the dexterity of the hands is so crazy. The thing only weighs like 60 some odd pounds. So, which is a fear with these humanoids, is like if it fell on you, would it crush you for the heavy ones? This one doesn't. It can lift like 150 pounds or something, which is wild, but it won't. But its hand is only as strong as a human hand, so like it can't crush you, I guess. And there's all these crazy other things about it. The weirdest thing is it's not fully autonomous. It can be, but they have this teleoperator deal where if it wants to learn a task or whatever, they take over. So you basically have this person that can view into your home anytime, which is kind of creepy. But I got one big question. If you do the $499 a month and you stop paying your payments, what happens?
I saw there was a lot of good memes around that. It kills you.
Does it kill you? Does it just walk out the door and hop on the nearest FedEx truck and be like, I'll see you later?
Right. It just shuts down and it's a paperweight.
That could be an outcome. I saw some of them where it turns into Terminator. It gets the red eyes.
I was only slightly as interested in it as you were towards the end of the day, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll watch some videos, and then pretty much lost me as a hype video when I realized that their current state of it is that it's not even autonomous, that it's there's some remote teleoperation going on. So they obviously are generating hype around a proof of concept rather than an actual product that's going to ship.
Now,
so,
they've been pretty open, though, because they have to basically put it out in the world to develop the software, right? And you have to think like, okay, well, if this first one's kind of clunky, just imagine how fast it's going to move and how fast computers moved and everything else technology-wise. I'm a bit of a techno-optimist. I believe like this is definitely the future. This sort of thing is coming around. I wasn't even certain humanoid was the best form for a robot. I assumed we'd have like what you see in warehouses and such where robots are designed for one specific purpose. But I was listening to a thing by Elon Musk, who's building the Optimus robot at Tesla. And then you have another company called Figure that's doing this, and they say they're 2 years away. Elon felt like he was further than that away. But one of the things he said was, we designed this whole world for humans. And so it turns out the best form for a robot is to mimic a human. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And you think about everything from door handles to, doorways to operating cars to whatever. It's all designed for humans. Dishes or dishwashers, fridges, everything. Yeah, or drive race cars. That could be a thing too, for sure. Let's put Neo behind the wheel and see what we can make happen. Is it designed for that? The last thing, I'll just dive into this because it's been. I know I've been obsessed because I've been sending you all these different tweets and such. But the thing I just couldn't get over was like the hands, and like they look like it can do things, and that's the thing that Elon was talking about is the hardest part of the whole robotics deal. Yes, there's the software, which is tough, and that's advancing at a fast rate, though, as all AI is advancing at a very fast rate right now. But the hands, like the human hand, is incredibly complex and, very precisioned design. And it's incredibly hard with current technology to design a hand on these robots. So where are you gonna put your Neo? Can he be a greeter at
a dealership?
Yeah,
I think it would be awesome to have like 3 or 4 of them just walking around the showroom serving coffee, bringing keys to their customers.
Dude, I was like, if I didn't live in an apartment and had more space, I was like, I might buy one of these.
Oh, I guarantee you, a business like ours will be one of the first places to adopt those as pure marketing and novelty.
Yeah, come see our robot.
Actually, and here's the other thing is like, if I can have them go out on the lot and put keys in cars and put the balloons on the cars and stuff like that, yeah, we could probably do that.
Helpful, dude. Telling you, it's going to happen faster than we realize how this is all going to look sci-fi, which is unbelievable. Totally crazy. But I've been just enamored by it, and I kind of want one. I definitely kind of want one. I'm with you though on the teleoperation, like having a person in your home, like that's a little sketchy. Like I know we have, if you've had an Amazon Alexa or something like that, and we've all got cameras on our phones and on our computers and everything, but I don't know. It just that part is tough. And so if you take that leap to be a test dummy, more power to you.
You just wake up in the middle of the night with the robot staring at you while you're sleeping.
That would be so scary. I thought about that. I was like, because it plugged itself in and everything. And I'm like, you walk into a room, a little hungover or like post drinking, slept 2 or 3 hours, and you walk in a room and that thing's standing there. You'd be like, what the?
It's gonna ask you where you've been all night.
I am picturing it like standing outside my bed at 4:45 in the morning with a hot cup of coffee, just standing there.
That'd be cool though. That'd be great.
Like, oh my God.
To that point, I had this thought that our coffee machine isn't the simplest coffee machine. And I was like, man, if I had one of those, I'd have to get a different coffee machine that it can operate better. Like you think about that stuff too, and where we'll start to design appliances for the robots. Yeah, that blew your mind. I know.
It did.
You remember audio format. You can't just shake your head. Folks, he's still shaking his head. Now he's typing.
No,
I'm doing something else.
We get to talk about robots.
We get to watch Landon work. Should we talk about racing now? I apologize for the, I guess, I don't know what you would call that, detour, but just so on my mind, and I think it's fascinating. So we'll see where it all goes. Robots coming to a home near you. Let's talk about NASCAR. We mentioned it, the long legal battle between 2311, FRM, and NASCAR could potentially be showing signs of a settlement. They had settlement talks last week, which eventually ended in no settlement, but it sounds like from some reporting from Jordan Bianchi and The Athletic that they were really close, including one of the biggest things that's been discussed with these charters and their disappointment in the current charter agreement was that they were termed to a 7-year deal as opposed to permanent. And it sounds like NASCAR made some concessions on that with what they're terming an evergreen charter. And the idea being that maybe they're not linked to the actual media rights in terms of amount of money. So if the media rights went down in the next contract, whatever, if NASCAR decides to shift that, but that the charter would be permanent, which I think was a big, big breakthrough. And the big place that it broke down, though, according to Jordan Bianchi, was discussing who would be responsible to pay the $100 million in legal fees between NASCAR 2311 and FRM.
Wow.
Always the lawyers. Always the lawyers.
Wow.
Yeah.
But are you suggesting, or is Jordan reporting that there's an actual settlement in principle agreed upon, or that they're that close that they're now negotiating over legal fees?
It sounds like, from what I read, that they basically were there, and the legal fees was the big breakdown. And so now it's getting to figure out that portion. But there's been reports that this week we could have seen it get settled, and that Steve Phelps was motivated to try and get it settled before the championship finale this weekend. Probably trying to avoid the amazing memes we discussed last week around Denny Hamlin winning the championship and being handed the championship trophy. So it sounds very, very close. On top of that, the judge dismissed the NASCAR counterclaim against 2311 in Front Row that alleged they legally conspired with teams to get a better deal in the charter agreement. So that's gone. And today it was released, basically, the NASCAR financial statements, which showed the their income and also the charter agreements. So they show that NASCAR had an income of more than $100 million last year from the financial statements.
And
that's that's on a revenue of, Josh, what was the revenue? Let's see here.
What, of last year?
Yep.
Oh,
2024. 1.7. Where am I looking here?
I thought it was 1.1 billion on media rights every year.
Well, no, yeah, that's going forward, but I was talking total revenue for the.
Well, gosh, it's showing in 2023 they made $500 million.
Yeah, they did. Kind
of buried the lead on that one.
It's been a lucrative
last year,
business.
They had a quote net income of 102 million, and then 2023 536 million.
Right, but the actual income was something like 1 point. Was this one?
Revenues was 1.7.
I mean revenue.
1.7 billion last year, and then 1.64 billion the year prior.
Yeah, they did well. They've done well. Yeah, it's a nice business. It's a healthy biz. It's what we've learned. So, Landon, where do we want to unpack all of this?
What got that information out?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Like how did NASCAR lose that battle for their financial statements to get publicized?
No, don't know. I don't know that answer. It is a good question.
That is wild.
It's all public record, so it's. I mean, I'm just looking at Bob Pockrass's tweets here. His verbiage is the 2025 charter agreement is now a public record, which tells me it came out through the.
It must, yeah. As they lead to trial, this came out, and we did get the breakdown of the charter agreements, which basically we've already known this and we've put it out there before. But average across the series is about 11.9 million per car that they receive in total money from the series in this newest agreement. And there's a little bit of fluctuation there where you finish in standings and that sort of thing. But if you average across all 36 charters, it's about 11.9 million per car. So pretty interesting. There was also a Redditor that did a little breakdown of the year-to-date earnings per car with charter and purse earnings so far in this year. And you have the 20 car of Christopher Bell leading that at 13 million. And this was just for the top 3 teams, which JGR's combined total charter plus purse is 49 million this year, 48.7 for Hendrick, 42.4 for Penske, which includes the 21 car.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money out there. But to put it in perspective, I like this tweet by Tom Bowles. Former New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson is a backup with the Dolphins, making $6 million. He's thrown just 9 passes all season, and he makes more money than any NASCAR team's base level in the charter system. It's a base of $5.3 million per year, $141,000 per race.
Wow. What is that supposed to tell us?
Well, that football's really big.
Football's really big.
So a lot of stuff to unpack here. I don't know what in there is really shocking. It's funny. I kind of already knew the NASCAR income per year. I didn't know about 23 being $500 million, but I assumed, and from what I knew and some other things, other sources, that they generally were in the hundreds of millions in terms of profit per year. So that gives, at least it gives, I guess, hard numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does show that they do have significant cost in their business, for sure. And that, this has been where the whole argument is between the teams and NASCAR has been that they want more revenue towards the teams, and NASCAR's in the position of, hey, we are a business that has to operate, that has to make an income. And, within there, it's, they don't always have the biggest of margin there, and they are, always trying to obviously spend money on marketing, that sort of thing. So I think for their point of view, it's, hey, we have to run this business as well. We can't just run this business on hopes and dreams. And that's where you get this back and forth we've seen for years, and especially that's just led to this trial right now. And I think the one thing to put in context what the teams are getting right now, any team on the grid will tell you that the cost to run a single car in the NASCAR Cup Series competitively is going to be between 15 and 25 million, most likely probably 18 to 25 million. So your gap is anywhere between 6 and 13 million, basically, that you have to make up every year just to run competitively. And that's where the breakdown is.
It's hard to come up with $10 million additional to fund your team.
Yeah.
That's adult money in terms of, it just, we're not, I guess, memes aside, like, think of any companies out there that really have $10 million to spend in marketing on one particular initiative, right?
Yeah.
Campaign, whatever. Those are big companies, right? And then you go, okay, well, then you even break that up. 5 companies that all spend $2 million a piece. $2 million is still a lot of money to raise in marketing.
It is. And, if you think of any company that has, how many companies have $100 million ad budget or marketing budget per year?
I don't know.
You've got to be in the billions as a market cap, most likely. So that then starts to lower your amount of companies. Now, we do have companies in the trillions these days. NVIDIA just hit $5 trillion market cap recently. But to your point, that amount of companies that can do that is not large, which is where you've ended up with the different paint schemes every week and all that, as these companies try to say, hey, we'll use NASCAR, but we'll allocate $1 million or $2 million, $5 million, whatever it is, and get a portion of the season, get what they want out of it. And that still leaves your team looking around. And so that's how they end up with multiple sponsors to try and fill that gap from the, say, 6 to 15 million that they're trying to fill each year, right? And somewhere in there, the driver gets paid. But if you want to know why driver income has gone precipitously down, all you have to do is look at the amount of partners that's required to be on these things. And, the fact that the teams don't get enough from the series to at least even cover their running cost, let alone pay the driver. Yeah, that was a really thoughtful response. Thank you. Would you like to have a conversation today, or you just want to snort in the mic?
Just snorting into the mic.
Landon's a little sniffly today.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm sniffly.
What's going on? We've lost him, folks.
We're
He
just
took a week off.
do you
He went
wanna
on.
s-
He went
What
on
more
vacation.
words do you want to say about marketing?
Well, we also learned that there's a transfer fee for these charters when they're sold. 2% or $250K, whichever is greater, goes to NASCAR. If a
That
team
actually surprised me. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That was an interesting one.
The house always got to take a cut.
They always,
The
they gotta
house
take that
has
rake.
The house has got to take their rake.
They say if you're playing in a private poker game that has a rake, you're getting scammed.
Interesting week to talk about private poker games.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't mean it that direction. If a team forfeits a charter and NASCAR sells it, NASCAR keeps $500,000 with the rest going to the teams. So that's interesting. And if NASCAR adds charters and identifies buyers, teams get 120 days to negotiate with prospective buyers to sell one of their charters instead, and also 10 days to match a deal NASCAR makes with a new buyer to sell one of their charters instead.
Interesting. So
yeah,
that's like heavily in favor of getting a team. Like it basically is structured that the teams would absolutely positively not want to sell a charter for NASCAR to have to add a charter. Did that make any sense?
Say that again. One more time.
It's the way that is structured looks to me like the intention is to not add a charter.
It would give the teams the ability to control the amount of charters in the pool.
Well, and that's because it dilutes. I'm sure it dilutes the pie, right? It dilutes the income.
Right. So the structure there is giving the teams every possible chance to sell them one of their charters instead of adding a new team, adding a new charter. 120 days, almost 6 months.
It's basically like real estate when you do a 1031. You have to identify potential acquisitions.
Interesting.
I was just adding it up. Yeah, it's $431 million in total payouts to the teams this year. But if you did that number divided by 37, it lowers each team by a couple $100,000 if you added another charter. That gives you the idea of the dilution. They go from making an average of 11.98 to 11.6. So that's why that's in there, because it's in the team's best interest not to have more charters added. And that's actually I feel like a bit of protection for them in some respects.
What line item on these expenses do you think is paying the France family?
Whoa.
I'm just curious. I'm looking at this because I'm trying to figure out where all the money is going. And I know that there is a certain amount that obviously is going to go to the owners. Is that a league expense? Is that a
most likely? I think I saw a thing that so they're an LLC / potentially an S corp, so they would have some.
I'm sure there's a little bit in every bucket.
Profit sharing. I'm sure on the you can pay yourself any salary you want. That would be a part of it. You can take profits at the end of each year, just like any other business. So there's no way to know that.
okay?
Yeah, but
there's no telling how much real estate the France family owns that NASCAR rents from them. Things like that too.
That's a possibility. That's kind of the WeWork model. That's what Adam Newman did with WeWork. Do you know that?
Bought all the real estate himself?
He was buying the real estate himself and then leasing it to WeWork.
Smart.
On insanely long and lucrative leases. Pretty wild. Also, if to talk about more actual racing stuff and the talk, what has been the talk for the last 6 months has been the championship format. And it sounds like it's been narrowed down to 3 things, one of which actually shocks me. And that is the full season format.
It is kind of shocking. If
What's
they're
that?
actually considering that.
Oh, yeah, it's just shocking. I can't believe how much that has moved. That, the original 10-race chase, which would be my vote, and then a playoff format that ends with like 3 or 4 races, basically. So it's not one single race.
I don't like the 10-race chase, and I don't like the 3 or 4 race format. I think we either go season long or stick to the playoffs.
Well, the
I
playoff
hated the chase.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't like the chase.
Whoa!
I like the
Breaking
playoffs.
news. What?
What? We've talked about this the last how many weeks?
Haven't
And
we?
he's
Haven't
never
we?
admitted that.
Wow.
Well, we never talked about the chase.
I feel like I
Okay.
brought it up.
You
I don't think I
definitely
like
have.
the chase.
You must have been selling a car when we were talking about it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying shit.
Why do you
Maybe I'm
not
just
like?
talking? I don't know. I felt like it was. I didn't like that reset, and then I just felt like it was kind of like the full season long points. But then 6 weeks into the chase, you still were like, well, we can see where this is going.
I just thought it was unique in a lot of respects. Like, and I'll I've talked about how I hated when we went from the chase to playoffs, like in terms of at least the terminology in that word. I loved the term the chase. It was unique to NASCAR. It was its own thing. It is different in NASCAR because everyone's on the same field at the same time, all the competitors. So I was like, it's different than stick and ball sports. And I just love that moniker of Chase for the Cup. That was a great video game. All those reasons, right? I also just felt like it is a great middle ground to having a quote unquote postseason, but also something that's probably better for the legitimacy of the sport and the legitimacy of racing where all the competitors are on the field at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just like that perfect compromise. I also do like the playoffs, which we've talked about a million times. But I think the there's obviously a kickback on that, and which I get. It's not as clean cut as the other two. The full season format, I saw you on Twitter today. You were like spicy on Twitter about this. You were going after people. And you brought up a great point, which is we've never had this when the OEMs have so much control and power, which they have now. And I responded to your tweet with something I meant to bring up the last time we had this discussion. And that is, if you want an example of what happens when you have manufacturers controlling as much as they do now, go watch DTM, which is German touring cars from 2000 to 2020, before they went to the GT3 stuff they do now, when it was Mercedes and BMW basically, and Audi. And the manufacturers would basically deem a chosen one to be the champ. And then every other car on the track for that manufacturer was there just to help that car / knock the others off. And I was like, where are they going there? Because what the fans don't realize, compared to 2003, when most of the teams were highly independent, built their own engines, built their own cars, the manufacturer was a sponsor item at that time, basically, right? There was no simulation through those guys. There was none of that. You were very much an independent entity that happened to be sponsored by Ford or whatever, have a relationship, right? And now all the team Chevy key partner teams meet on every Monday together. They do all the sim together. They use the GM Technical Center for all their sim. Everything comes out of GM in terms of, engineering directives. They have 80 to 100 engineers at GM solely to work on the NASCAR stuff.
All their setups go into the same operating system.
Exactly. And so what I think some fans are just not realizing, because they see all the different team names and the cars and whatever, it's like, no, they all work for one entity. And it's not them.
Well, and I think, just to be clear, as we get into this conversation, just to be clear, this is actually a little bit of a fork in the road. We're branching off, and this is more of a conversation about race manipulation, air quotes, for those of you in the audio, than it is the actual season-long format or not, the championship format, right? Because we're just talking about like the modern OEM power structure in motorsports, not just NASCAR, but in motorsports at large, how that turns into race manipulation, and then how that race manipulation fits within a championship format, right? Because there's a lot of discourse on social media about people that are like, oh, race manipulation. Well, that wouldn't happen if we had the season-long championship format. We get rid of the playoffs, it'll fix that. And it's like, not so much. I mean, we could talk about season-long formats or playoffs, which one you like better, which one you don't. You know, that's a fun conversation. We've had it before. We can have it again. But the point I was making on Twitter is like, well, if you like race manipulation in the playoffs, you're going to love it in a season-long format because 19 races into the season, when Kyle Larson has a 75-point lead in the points and Chevy starts to, circle their wagons around the Kyle Larson camp, don't think for a second that there won't ever be a Chevy that finishes in front of Kyle Larson from race 20 on to race 36.
Yep.
Right? Like it will, this may not happen overnight, right? This might even be a cultural thing as drivers get sifted out of the system and then they get hired into the system and it's a culture that changes. But I can almost guarantee you that the outcome of this, whether it's 1 year or 10 years down the line, as long as the OEMs continue to grow in their stronghold of authority over the operation of these teams, that is the direction this will go. And I love the OEMs. We need the OEMs, right? We need the money that they put into the sport. We love the money that they put into the sport. But there has been a strategic and consistent consolidation of OEM resources over the past 15 years. I mean, really since Toyota. Because I feel like Toyota really started it and mastered it. And then Chevy and Ford, just kind of started to follow suit. I feel like Chevy followed suit with Dr. Eric Warren and the Tech Center in the last 5 years, right?
Yep.
And it's only getting more, right? We're only seeing more of it, right? Chevy didn't build a $500 million tech center in Concord to just support one team and let everybody do their own thing, right? They did that to put everything under one roof, right? Same with Toyota and Salisbury and Ford and their tech center. Like they didn't consolidate all their engine shops and their resources in these engine shops over time to then have a bunch of different teams doing their own thing. They did it to have the operations under one roof. And so, and a micro example of this are literally the meetings that we have at super speedways.
Yep.
Right. Where there are manufacturer meetings that happen at super speedways that don't happen every other week. Right. Hey, here's how we're going to work together as a team. All the Ford drivers getting together in one motorhome. They don't do that any other week, right? But that over time, that's just the direction that this is going. So, anyways, when in the conversation of race manipulation, don't think, no matter what side you're on playoffs, non-playoffs, full season, don't think for a second that switching to a season-long points, solves that race manipulation stuff.
If anything, it gives the opportunity for it to get worse.
Which is why I did have a tweet today where I'm like, let's just embrace race manipulation then.
Well, DTM did this, and it got so bad. They had people in the stands with, employees in the stands with different colored flags that they were waving to tell
because they don't really have spotters and communication or whatever.
Yeah, so they couldn't. So they were signaling each other, and it was just like, oh god, this has gotten out of control. And there was some really egregious moments where like two guys were racing for the championship, and an Audi just completely takes out a Mercedes into turn one of a track, and it's just like so blatant. It was just like, okay, so he got told, if you have the chance, take that car out. Like, I hate to say it, but that's where it leads, and I think you expressed that perfectly in how, it might not be tomorrow, but in 3 to 4 years when they realize the opportunity here is to do such a thing. Yeah. And I think
first 20 races of the year will be,
it's open game. And then
and whoever's got the momentum at that time, like I said, Larson goes off and pops off 6 wins in the first 20 races. He's obviously hot. The rest of the Chevy team's like, okay, we got to make sure this 5 wins a championship.
And it's the same thing. If you look at Ross Chastain, who was ruffling a lot of feathers and such, and then kind of got read the riot act and was like, hey, bud, you're not thinking of the bigger picture here. And it was like, when he started taking out Chevys, especially Hendrick Chevys, suddenly it was a big problem. And, I can have my reservations as to to me thinking if that is a correct thing and that shouldn't be allowed, but there's no way to stop it. And I think the other thing for the OEMs is they're kind of an unchecked / unmonitored, partner involved in all this. In a lot
Very
of
unchecked.
respects.
And
Yeah,
here's
they
the
have
thing, and that's
they have
now we're
endless power, and they have no real thing that's
no
restricting
accountability.
them. No accountability whatsoever.
No, and here we are trying to, bring new manufacturers into the sport. Well, let's just do a quick tour. Parker, you're giving Volkswagen or Honda or Hyundai or Kia a tour of the NASCAR.
Mhm.
You get a 60-second tour of NASCAR to convince them to come into the sport. And their questions are, how much money do I need to spend? What do I have to do to be competitive in the sport? Because, Sir Parker, I don't want to come into the sport and not be competitive. Oh, well, Mr. Kia, that's actually no big deal. All you have to do is partner with a multi-billion-dollar entrepreneur and have him build you a $300 million building and install, and you need to hire about 250 engineers.
It's simple.
And here's the legacy engine that you have to build.
Yep.
That your competitors, it's really no big deal. It'll be super easy to compete with them. They've only been building them for 50 years. So we'll just get you spun up real quick on these engines that your competitors have been building for 50 years, and they spend $100 million a year on them.
Yeah.
And, the engine has nothing to do with any technology you're building right now in your core business. But don't worry about that. It's easy to learn. Right?
Oh,
So
man.
that's what NASCAR's up against. That it's like this monster they've created. I say they. I'm putting it on NASCAR, but I guess ultimately it's their sport. It is on them. But like that's like this elephant in the room that we've created in this sport with these OEMs. There's been so much focus over the years of keeping the race teams in check, right?
Mhm.
Put limitations on how many cars they can field, and then the roster limitations, and like all these budget, everything's to save the team's money, right? And it's like the money is still there. It's still getting spent. And it's like, but now it's the OEM spending the money.
Yep.
And they just keep spending more money. And now the barrier of entry of a new OEM is just insanely high.
And when they spend money, it is unchecked. It's not within the provisions of, what the race teams are held accountable to. And even in the event of a budget cap, right? Which it sounds like that was a part of the discussions, and that's still being explored. And I know it's been explored since, 2018.
But like I just said, budget cap for the teams. Okay, fine.
For the teams, yeah, great. But
This is like,
what about the OEMs?
So then the OEM just spends the money.
Yeah.
And then
Well, and I
provides
think
the team this intangible asset that now the OEM is in control over.
Yeah. And F1 has done this really well and elegantly in how they've controlled the engine cost. So that sort of controls the OEMs a little bit, and the OEMs kind of own the teams that they're involved with. So they've been able to kind of keep that in check. But, it does take a tremendous amount of expense in keeping that in check. F1 has these independent entities that go and check, like during the August break that they're supposed to have. They go and make sure that these teams are shut down. They go and inspect, like when GM was doing this F1 deal with the Andretti Global, they have the IndyCar program and all this stuff. Well, they made sure that they're in separate buildings on separate operating systems. Like they check all that stuff. And so much so it's like McLaren, make sure that they're staying within the provisions with their IndyCar team that they have. Like it's very much church and state is how they split it up.
I've got another good one for you that has always blown my mind. And I need someone to say, Landon, that's just not true. This isn't how it works. You're wrong. Right. But this is another example that blew my mind that almost was like, to me, an error that like they put power in the OEM's hands. What did NASCAR do? I don't even know who convinced them. The OEMs had to be the one that convinced them to do it. What did NASCAR do about 5 years ago? That's a really broad question, so you're not going to be able to guess it. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with wind tunnel testing. What did they do with wind tunnel testing?
Oh, I know exactly what they did.
Yeah. I don't know how many years ago it was. 5 years ago, let's call it. each team had a certain amount of wind tunnel time they were allowed to perform. That was in the NASCAR rules. The teams trade, ultimately at the end of the day, it was the manufacturers that paid for the wind tunnel time, but the teams were allowed to go to the wind tunnel time under NASCAR's rule book a certain amount of time, right? All from teams from Hillman Racing all the way up
Yep.
to Hendrick.
It was like
Right?
150 hours.
I mean,
that
yeah,
each
when
team
I was
got
at
per
Hillman,
car.
that was that was how we got some of our
no.
resources from RCR, right?
Yeah, it was 150 hours per organization is what you got. At least in the last iteration of it.
Right. We horse traded.
Oh yeah,
Right,
same.
to get resources.
At Gaunt Brothers, we did too. We horse traded as well. Yeah, it was the best thing to be able to get some help from JGR.
I don't know who convinced him. I can only guess. What did NASCAR do with that wind tunnel time? They took it away from the teams and gave it all to the OEMs. Right?
Yep.
That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
So now the teams themselves do not have access to the wind tunnel directly. The OEMs are the ones that have access to the wind tunnel, which is like even more leverage. Point OEMs.
Yep. Huge.
And I love my OEMs. I love what they've supported the sport, but
I do too. I just think it is kind of interesting how they just realized they had so much power, and I think they had the foresight and the intelligence to realize that, if you were GM or Ford that was not following the Toyota model, and suddenly you're looking at how they're doing it, and you've got these 4 spread out organizations all independently operating, all doing their own thing, they're handing all this money to and not seeing results, and you're sitting there going, wait a second, why are we doing it this way when everything tells you there will be an efficiency gain by combining resources, there should be a performance gain, and you consolidate your power and your influence. And so it's just like, bam, hey, we're just going to take here, take that, and now we run everything. And it is what it is. They make, obviously, car racing requires car manufacturers, but it's just been fascinating how that has happened. And to go back to the root of this whole conversation, the point being that I just don't think people have fleshed that out enough with this idea of full season points being more legitimate and all those things, where it's just like, you have not operated with that type of format with the OEM power that they have right now and control. And so, for the drivers and for the teams, they are
the people that are passionate about it. It's okay to say, hey, that's those are 2 separate battles. We're just talking about how they intersect with each other, right?
Yeah.
Because I think there's plenty of space to have the conversation of, what do you prefer, season long points, playoffs, are you a purist, whatever. Like I said, we've had that conversation, but it's just there's this like elephant in the room that follows a lot of these conversations that, is a huge piece of why the outcome of this sport in these scenarios is what it is.
Yep.
I mean, it would happen in any format. Like, at this point,
for
the
sure,
format has nothing to do with where this is happening. It's when you give them the power, it's gonna.
Yeah,
they're
I
gonna
mean,
take
imagine,
advantage.
it's just like, imagine for a second that we're going into, you have 4 races to go in the season. There's 8 cars left in the playoffs, and none of them are teammates. There's no teammates, not in the entire field, 40-car field. There's 40 different teams, no alliances. They all run their own engines. They all run their own, like, every man for themselves.
That's what it used to be.
Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, they used to run the same badges on the cars back then, but like, there was no manufacturer support. There was no, the teams built their own engines, right?
Hell,
So
I'm gonna go one step further. The teams, individual cars within organizations didn't work together in 2003.
yeah,
they didn't run this. Yeah, they didn't run the same chassis. You had teams within teams that were operating almost entirely independent of the fact that they were under the same banner. Like, that's how diverse and segregated it was. And now it's become, just one single entity, a couple small entities or large entities control it all.
Yeah. So when we want to have these conversations about, like, what actually made season-long points entertaining, or what actually made NASCAR in general entertaining. Who knows, right?
Yep.
I don't want to leave out those parts of the conversation, right? Definitely something you don't want to leave out is spoilerdiecast.com. These guys just crushing it. One of the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there, and for good reason. I mean, you want to talk about the elephant in the room, the final boss to beat in when it comes to diecast sales and inventory. Spoilerdiecast.com will ship same or next day. You've got an order that is not sitting in limbo forever. They have a massive selection, 1,900 products and growing in stock. They are mostly NASCAR, just like us, but they've got dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1, a little bit of everything. They are still running your free shipping on orders over $100, and you get a free NASCAR t-shirt of a random driver. Just comment your preferred size in the order notes. So yeah, whether you're hunting down a rare piece or just looking to rep your favorite driver, spoilerdiecast.com. Use promo code MONEYLAP. Take advantage of that free shipping and free t-shirt while us.
Landon,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to update that number because that number is now over 2,400 products.
Jeez.
2,400 products at spoilerdiecast.com. Go check them out. They're the best. They make this all happen. They're the reason we can go on here and spout nonsense that we do, whether it's about robots or NASCAR financials or the power of the OEMs in NASCAR. They make it all happen. Thank you, Spoiler Diecast. We appreciate you. I also, if you're watching on YouTube, you saw Josh there had the my win tee from the Xfinity race at Daytona with Connor Zilic. That's pretty cool. I know he sold a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of people were getting the other win tee we made. That was like the 2-time winner, no wins shirt. So
that's in my mailbox right now.
Oh, great. That's great. That's a great place for it. You should keep it there. Just had another friend send me one as well. So that he just got his. So it's good to see. My mom got hers too. She said it was and I quote, my mom said this is wonderful quality. So take it from my mom. It's great quality.
Love that.
Let's move into the Xfinity Series. I think we've covered everything in Cup, Landon. And we didn't even talk about a single lap of racing. That's how much is going on in the NASCAR world this week. I swear we will talk about Phoenix coming up later on when we make our picks and talk about what's going on over there for the championship finale. In the Xfinity Series, some news there. Carson Quapple will be full-time next season with JRM in the O'Reilly Series is what it will be. The structure will be announced. I believe what I'm hearing, almost all his races will be at JRM, but he might have a couple at another organization. But hey, you like
that
this?
be?
One of the Chevy teams. I would assume maybe Mario Gosselin or something like that, or Alpha Prime, something like that. I think he has to fill a couple, apparently. So I don't know that for sure. It's just what I heard. So we'll see if that pans out.
You're gonna be driving the ones that he's not racing, right? That's what I heard.
Yeah, of course. That's
okay.
Right.
Yeah,
this is where you can find me. Yeah, Landon and I are gonna actually just continue to do driver changes in every one of those.
That's right.
So
I love that.
We're looking forward to it. We've come up with a plan where he gets to start half and I get to start half and see how we end up. See who gets a win in there.
We're gonna get each other wins.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I do have one question, if you could think of it, because I was tasked with this today for the upcoming last Xfinity Series race, because Xfinity is moving on as the title sponsor. It will be the O'Reilly Series next year. Can you think of a favorite Xfinity race in the last, how long they've been there? 10 years, I think.
Oof.
It could be one you were in, not in.
You know,
whatever.
I just kind of ripping it off the dome here, putting me on the spot. How memorable was the Briscoe versus Kyle Busch matchup in Darlington during the COVID era?
Those
great. Were great races.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying those are the best of all time. There's probably one, Landon, you forgot about this one. But those are great races.
So my initial thought was like, well, I'm just going to pick myself and Daytona of Connor Zilic. Because,
of course.
By the way, I don't know if we've talked about this. I got a text from some people and then shown this. They changed the rule on the betting sites around driver changes now, which is wild. From that. So we've made a rule change in betting, which is pretty cool. But that was my thought first one. I was like, okay, I was in that, and then I was like, okay, I got to find one that like obviously is less about me. And then my mind kept going to that 2023 Road America finish that I was a part of, which I ended up losing. I finished second, but we had like 4 leaders in 2 laps at Road America, if you remember it.
Mhm.
Sam Mayer ended up winning, but there was speedy dry on the track. It was the repaved Road America, so we were going like a bajillion miles an hour around there. We were doing like 180 plus into turn 1, which was 10 miles an hour faster than the year prior before the repave. And the brakes were failing on everyone's cars. Our brakes were gone by the end of that race. So I thought that was that was a memorable finish, but I totally forgot about the Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe one. I also thought number 1 might be Hemrick beating Cindric at the line for the championship and his only win, or AJ Allmendinger and Cindric at Bristol when they spun across the line.
Legendary finish.
Yeah, I think that was 21.
That's stock car racing right there.
That was cool too. So
I don't know.
Classic stock car racing.
Special shout out to the Roval race, the first rain Roval race. Absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Were you in that, Landon?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you might have been. Oh man, that when it was dark and there was no lights. AJ tells the funniest story of he's like you couldn't see anything, so you would just like turn and be like, oh god, I'm off the track. Like you would short like through 3 and 4. He said he like went down to the bottom by accident a couple times. He's like, I couldn't see a thing. Crazy. Yeah. Well, classic stock car racing, man. I know it'll be the O'Reilly series next year, but the
Xfinity was a great partner.
Well,
Nationwide was an awesome partner.
Nationwide was great. I think Xfinity has, maybe just because I was older and I was paying more attention, has been like really amazing what they've done for the drivers with that program where you mentioned Xfinity Mobile. You know, I know a lot of fans ask now that they're leaving. I think I can put it out there. It's $600 every time you say it. It's $1,000 if you say it in victory lane. You can do the math. If you're one of the guys running up front, it is a considerable amount of money they give to you. They also pay your PR person. So, it is.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I got any of those checks, so I think my PR team got all of it.
Ouch! Oh, I set it up directly.
I let them have it.
So last year, I finished second to Sam Mayer in the amount of mentions.
Wow!
By 1, he beat me by 1 because he made the championship 4 and he got another interview there that I didn't get. So I was like, damn. To put it in context, this year, the CW obviously has done full pre-race or pre-race shows and post-race shows every week, and we sometimes interview the top 10 some weeks. Well, they broke the record for mentions at like 1/3 through the season. So, and I think there's a couple guys, namely Zilich and some of them, that have made considerable income from Xfinity this year. So they've been a great partner. I know some fans out there are a little annoyed by it, but you do the math and you know
they are. It's funny how big of a difference it makes.
Oh, it makes huge. It's ginormous. You did the math.
Did you know that back in the sprint days, that if a driver thanked Sprint, if a Sprint Cup Series driver thanked Sprint in victory lane, it was a $10,000 gift card to Tiffany's?
Yeah, I know about that. McMurray told me.
So just go back and watch all of Jimmy Johnson's victory lane celebrations from the Sprint era.
How many wins did he have?
Oh my gosh.
Era? It had to be, well, Sprint came in 2004 and they left in 2017, 2016. So
what, 30, 40 wins?
It's got to be. So do the math.
Yeah, it was a $10,000 gift card to Tiffany's to say Sprint, not Sprint Cup, but Sprint. If you go back and watch some of them, they were saying Sprint.
If he won 40 races that time,
and I think it was something like $500 or $1,000 gift card to the PR rep as well for it.
So he had 400,000 in Tiffany gift cards,
probably.
What an era! Just missed it, Landon. We just missed it. Damn. Money Lap is really living up to its name today. We've talked a lot about money.
Yeah.
But Let's give some ideas to O'Reilly Auto Parts. What should they do? A free oil change every time you mention them?
If you say, "Oh,
Oh,
Oh,
O'Reilly.
Parker, tell us, that was a P1 on the board right now with about 7 cars left to go. Parker, tell us about your lap." Oh, well,
Oh. That should be fun. We'll see what they come up with. I don't know. But that's been a cool program. And lastly, just for the, Xfinity / now O'Reilly series, having done, this is my first full season being in the booth for, obviously for this. And, it's just a different perspective, but the series just makes me smile. The racing, the drivers, the teams, just the cars, it just makes me smile. I wish we got bigger crowds, though. If you're out there and you're going to these NASCAR races, I don't know how it works, but you got to buy a separate ticket, whatever. Come to Saturdays. It's always a shame that the crowds aren't bigger for Saturdays because the ratings are great, but we don't get the crowds to show up. So it'd be nice to see more people at those races, though. That'd be the one thing.
It's kind of like college football. It may not necessarily get the same viewership as NFL, but everything that's happening there, it's just slightly more chaotic.
Yep.
But a little bit more natural for what you want to. So go check it out.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. Also, as a thank you, the last stage of this weekend's Phoenix finale on CW will be commercial free. So kind of cool. Thank you, Xfinity. That'll be fun. You get to hear Jay McMurray and myself and Adam Alexander more. So that's what you all wanted. Speaking of a goodbye to the Xfinity Series, Colleague Racing is putting their Xfinity program on pause next season as they go to race Ram trucks in the Truck Series. So a team that's been there for 10 years. You drove for them, Landon. They are not going to be there anymore, which is wild.
Yeah, interesting to see. We've kind of been hearing rumblings about that maybe Spire is getting their equipment or something.
Yeah, I don't know about that, to be honest. I think there's a couple, I said it last week, you weren't on the show. There's a couple new teams that are coming into the series, it sounds like, but what the makeup of them and where the equipment comes from, I don't know. So we'll find that out in the coming months for sure. Also, Harrison Burton announced last weekend he is going to SHR. Sam Hunt Racing is going to become 2-car organization full-time with Dean Thompson and Harrison Burton. So good for Sam. Also, from the post-race Destruction Derby of Sam Mayer versus Jeb Burton, Sam Mayer gets the weekend off for the last Xfinity Series race. Ryan Sieg will be driving his car for him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool for Ryan.
That is cool.
His cars are kind of coming out of that house already, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So
very close alliance.
It shouldn't be too much different than what he's already racing, but it's funny, those teams that are just well put together, they've got the people. Nothing against his group. He'll definitely feel something different.
Yeah. I think just being with the mothership is a little bit different than being an affiliate, no matter what the makeup of it is. Unless you're a front or furniture row, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, you're going to feel some sort of upgrade. Furniture row, led by Cole Pern in that era in Cup with the JGR Alliance, was special. That was an outlier for sure.
It's funny how those details just make a difference, right? And it's you can't even point to what it is. I mean, I could tell that the first time I realized that as a driver, like tangibly realized that, was in a very short time period at Hendrick when I was testing a lot. I did a test with the R&D team, and they had their cars that we ran, and they were, and they were running an operation the same way the teams were, right? Their car, we would put so many laps on them, then they get a new body on them and all this stuff, right? And then I tested for the 48 team. And it was like, even within the same organization, the cars coming out of that shop drove a little bit different than the cars down the hill in R&D. Nothing against the R&D group. But it's like when Chad Knaus and Ron Malik and his team put together a car for you, it was a little bit different.
I felt that at Penske because my first year in the Xfinity Series, which was nationwide at the time, where I did a part-time deal. Occasionally, I got to drive a Penske car, running it through an affiliate with a different group and that sort of thing. And we could be quick and got top 10s and that sort of thing, but I would still do the practice and qualifying for the 22 team, which was led by Paul Wolf. And Brian Wilson who's now the crew chief on the 2, was the engineer. It was just a top-notch team that went on to win the championship. And it was weird that, you'd get done with a lap and, hey, that's P1. And I was like, I didn't do that in my car. Why can't I do that in my car? So, yeah, they don't. There's subtle things that make big differences. William Swalich will miss another race with the season finale at Phoenix after experiencing concussion-like symptoms. So Justin Bonsignor will continue to sub for him like he did at Martinsville. So wishing William a speedy recovery and to be ready for next season. And we'll see if what the makeup of everyone is next year. I've heard a new driver at Gibbs as well next season. So we'll see who that is.
Interesting.
Truck Series. Corey Heim won his 11th race. At the end of the last round, if the points move forward, he would have the championship locked up on playoff points alone this year into Phoenix.
Wow. So
he had an 81
a
point gap in playoff points.
Just in playoff points.
Like
if they reset the points.
But had playoff points, he would be that far ahead.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Insane. Or like a 75. It would have been, he had it locked up. So
can we talk for just a minute? We don't have to dwell on it because I don't want to dive back into the playoff conversation, but like the whole vibe and discourse is framing itself around quite a dramatic weekend.
Yep.
2 nights in a row of drama, Friday and Saturday night. That those 2 drivers, Corey Heim and Connor Zillage, must win the title.
Yep.
They have
it's going to be.
Otherwise.
And I'll be honest, I think Corey's probably got it in trucks, but man, we'll talk about our picks here in a little bit. We promised to talk about Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a good feeling for Xfinity.
Ooh.
I just got a sense. I don't know why. I just have a sense. So Lane Riggs announced he's returning to front row as well, by the way. So another driver announcement out there. And it's good for him. Just missed the championship 4. Probably should have made it, but had a tough race in there in the round of 8. So he's a good shoe, though. Really good shoe.
Mm-hmm.
F1. I didn't get to watch the race this weekend.
Oh boy.
I heard. So yeah, Josh, give us an update. What's the situation?
I'm just gonna say, as far as racing goes, what's an off-track penalty? What, if you cut a corner, like just don't even try to make the corner, not a penalty versus it was just a whole bunch of off-track stuff happening. And then things that should be off-track, like marshals, were on the track while the race was going, which was pretty sick.
I saw that video.
And then we had a random virtual safety car that neutralized probably what would have been the finish of the season, with both Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri potentially making up spots that very well this VSC could be the determining factor of who wins the championship this year.
And that was for Sainz, who had spun out in the stadium section, but then
it was halfway behind the wall,
a barrier, and they did a virtual safety car.
Yes.
Wow. The 2 marshals that ran across, that was in front of Liam Lawson?
Yes.
And were they under green at the time?
Yes, they were.
Wow.
There was a double
scary.
waved yellow, but still there was no SC or VSC.
That was pretty scary, and he was rightfully upset. I would have been pretty upset as well. The memory it gives me is there's this, I think I've talked about it on here before, but there's this amazing documentary from the 70s called F1, The Quick and the Dead, or Champions Live Forever, The Quick and the Dead. And one of the things they show, I think it was Kyalami in the 70s, where an official or a marshal runs across the track and gets clipped by a car and gets split in half, basically. It's horrific.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Horrific.
I feel like Formula One is at a point where they should just have year-round marshals that they fly from circuit to circuit. This whole entire getting volunteers every year that may not understand or do a race of this caliber, it's a little amateur.
Scary too. I mean, for him, really scary.
Yeah.
So, and for them, but really scary for the drivers. So, what's the points now between Lando and Piastri? It's tied.
It is. I believe it is 1 point. Let me double check that right now. Yeah. Lando is back in the lead at 357. Oscar is at 356. And Max is at 321. I hate to break it to you, Parker. I do not believe we're going to be seeing a 2025 Drivers' Championship for Max. Unless.
Just wait. They're just going to wreck each other for 2 weekends in a row. And then we're back. We're back. So
it'll be wild.
Also, I love this quote from Sergio Perez. Landon, you'll enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
So Sergio Perez was asked about the second seat at Red Bull. He said, there's no driver that can survive there. It doesn't matter if you bring Hamilton or Leclerc. Whoever you bring there is going to struggle massively. It's cursed. It's a cursed seat. Totally cursed. So,
probably right.
Where are we going next for F1?
Our next race is Brazil.
Brazil, Interlagos.
I love that track.
It's a good track. Really good track.
So, I wonder if there's any news on if NASCAR is going to go race the quote-unquote oval there. I know that there was that discussion a couple months ago.
Yeah, I do remember that. I don't know. I think that's definitely international races are definitely top of mind. It's a desire, but I think the little thing called the lawsuit has put a real damper on that sort of high cost stuff. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a, hey, we got to focus on the task at hand situation. So hopefully if that is settled or comes to a resolution here soon, those sorts of things can fire back up, I would think. In the IndyCar world, Marco Andretti announced he's retiring from driving. So goodbye, Marco. He came damn close to winning the Indy 500 in his first attempt in 2006, and I think about that often for him. Turn 4.
He was cheering in his car. I remember this.
Yep.
He thought that he had won.
He thought he had it. Yeah. Some say he lifted through there. I've been told that. People have seen the data, and that's why Sam Hornish got such a big run and took it from him. But has had good runs at Indy, but was never able to break through after that. So the Andretti curse of the Indy 500 continued, unfortunately. In the global motorsports world, Australian Supercars having quite a moment on social media. Post the amazing Bathurst 1000 that was incredible. They were in Surfers Paradise, which is an amazing street course on the Gold Coast of Australia. And this track it's hosted IndyCar back in the day and kart and Champ Car. IndyCar in its current form has not been back there, but it still has the Supercars as the main race, and it has these incredible curbs. And there's these images and videos of them launching these cars 5 feet in the air. It feels like it's absolutely insane. They had an onboard of Brock Feeney's qualifying lap that I think on Twitter has done millions of views, literally millions, which is just insane. So they've just all the imagery and the videos coming out from that weekend have been absolutely insane. I haven't caught all the races. I'm going to when I'm flying to Phoenix tomorrow, but I just thought if you're looking for some motorsports greatness, check out Supercars right now. They seem to be having cool races, and just the videos and the laps around there, the onboards are just so nuts, so cool. Check it out. Give it a look. They're in the midst of their first ever sort of playoff format right now, by the way. So I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it
I'm sure it's going to be horrible.
Yeah, no, it's going to ruin everything, of course. But they did this is their first year, and they announced it, and it was like, and then I saw these fans being like, well, NASCAR's getting rid of it. What are you doing? So, I whatever. It is what it is.
Supercars getting a lot of NASCAR attention. We've got drivers that are going to be giving it a try this offseason.
Yeah, so it was announced Austin Cindric is going to do the Adelaide race, which is another great street course from back in the F1 days, early 90s. Like the 80s, they used to race there in the 90s. And it's a really cool street course that's become sort of one of the headline events for Supercars. So Austin Cindric is going to do the main top series, which is like their Cup series, but then Super 2, which is like their Xfinity series. Jesse Love was announced that he's going to drive in that. That's kind of cool.
What kind of cars are in the Super 2 series?
It has been the old V8 Supercar. So before they went to what's the Gen 3, which is sort of
much
next
better,
gen.
lower downforce, the cars slide around more, put on the
yeah, and they still yeah, exactly.
It's like the one that you actually want to watch.
No, it's literally the same thing. It's like those are the better cars. Those cars were so wild. I actually got to play around with one at RCR. They had one 2 years ago. They had one there that they bought and brought over here, and they were so wild to be inside of and just like play around with all the gizmos in them and how they thought about things. It was pretty wild. But those cars were pretty crazy. They were very similar to the old Gen 4 NASCAR Cup car in terms of like sort of antiquated in some respects and unique things to them. They had the solid rear axle, which has always been a unique feature of supercars. And just some of the design features in them were odd. They even, I think at a time they had water brakes. So like water would spout onto the brakes for a while, which was kind of crazy. So yeah, they had all sorts of cool things, which that one had. It had water that you could spray on the brakes.
Cool the
basically.
brakes.
Yeah, the cool. Yeah. So kind of a cool concept because they do get to follow each other so closely at these street courses. And I always wondered how they did it. And I think that's a big part of it. So it'd be cool to see those guys. I'm jealous. I would love to go do that. Would love to. If I could find the time. So let's talk Championship 4, Phoenix. We made some picks. Yeah, we made some picks before the playoffs, and we basically want to see how we stacked up. I'll go through mine. So I had my Championship 4 as Byron, got that. Hamlin, got that. And then I had Blaney and Wallace, did not get either of those. My champ, Denny Hamlin. So I still got a shot. Who'd you have, Landon?
Looks like I had Hamlin, got it. Larson, got it. Bell, got it, right?
No, you did not get it.
They didn't get Bell? Bell's not in?
No, you didn't.
Who's
Bell
in?
is not.
Byron and who else?
Come to us for the most knowledgeable.
Briscoe. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Wrong JGR. Let's go with Hamlin.
You had Hamlin. Yep. Josh.
Larson got that. Bell did not get that. Blaney did not get that. Byron got that. And I have Blaney being the champion. You know,
you're out.
I'm just going to say this right now. Ryan Blaney should have sent William Byron into the wall. He has ruined my championship sweep, and I will never forgive Ryan Blaney for it.
I will say that was the drive of William Byron's career.
It was incredible.
Incredible.
It reminded me how much I like William Byron.
Yes. Yes.
And if Denny Hamlin can't win on Sunday, give me William Byron.
His third Championship 4 appearance in a row, which is pretty impressive. He and Larson are now matched with 3 Championship 4 appearances each, by the way. And you think in the less amount of time he's had to do that. That drive with the pressure knowing he had to win, puts it on the pole, probably one of the most difficult qualifying laps of the year, which was insane. And then I'm walking with him before the race because we're going to do an interview at his car after driver intros for NBC. And he was joking around, loose. He was making some quips back and forth. We were laughing about things, whatever. And so he, goes out there, drives back to the field late in the race there, a couple cars, gets to Blaney, makes that incredible pass, never looks back, doesn't let Blaney get back to him, nails the final restart and wins. And you could tell the emotion because he was just like, oh my God, I just pulled off the drive of the year. And I was texting him a little bit and I was like, dude, I could tell. And I even said it when we got done the interview. I was like, I feel I like the chances for this guy because he's like loose. And I could just tell like he just knew he had it. So manifested a lot of respects, but incredible drive by him. That was very impressive. I'm going to say some of our picks that we made before the season, by the way. This was back in December. We made these picks and to see if we were correct, any of us. Landon, you're the only one still alive. For Cup, I said Chase Elliott would be the champ this year. That's not going to happen. You said Larson. That could happen. Josh said Blaney. In Xfinity.
Blaney, come on. Just wreck him next time. Come on, man.
You lose. Xfinity, I said Christian Eckes. That did not happen. He didn't even make the playoffs. Landon said Allgaier. You still have a chance. And Josh said Zilich. You definitely got a chance. In trucks, I said Enfinger would be the champ. That didn't happen. Landon, you said Majeski. You still have a chance. Josh, you said Corey Heim. You still have a chance.
Wow.
Good job, boys. I did not get a single one. None of my people made the championship four.
That's quite a parlay.
Yeah.
Landon still has his he can still sweep this weekend. That's kind of crazy.
That would be crazy.
If Landon sweeps this weekend, there will be riots on Twitter.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, if Heim doesn't win the championship, if Zilich doesn't win the championship, Twitter, they're going to be rioting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just be counting my money.
Did you bet? Did you do that parlay?
No.
Oh. Well, that leads us to having to make some predictions for this weekend, guys. Would you like the honors, Landon?
Sure. So since I have Larson winning in my preseason pick, I have Denny winning in my playoff grid pick. So then I need to just pick someone else. So that way I have a 3 out of 4 chance to win.
To say you were right.
Is this where I pick Byron for the weekend? No, I'm going to go with Denny. I am actively rooting for the 11.
Who you got in Xfinity?
I'm rooting for Connor. I want to see Zilich win it. I want to, but I'd be happy to see Allgaier win it too. But yeah, let's have Zilich. Trucks. Oh, trucks. What do you think? Let's talk this one through. Who are my choices? First off,
Corey Heim, Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, who are trying to do it on 2 teams, and Tyler Ankrum.
Give me Caden Honeycutt on 2 teams.
Devilish. For Cup, I want and I am also rooting for Denny Hamlin. It's his year. Get it done. It's time. I hope they don't settle this lawsuit beforehand. Wait till after, because I think it causes more chaos that it's sort of still in discussion. So I've been meaning to text him. Don't you dare settle. If you're watching on YouTube, bless you, Landon. And it was a nice sneeze. And I just think it's his year. He's finally going to get it done. It's time. Xfinity, I'm rooting for Zilich. 100% rooting for Zilich. Just because of what he's accomplished this year. But you wrote that too quickly.
I apologize. I'll delete it.
I would have picked Carson Quapple until it was announced he has a full-time ride now. Now it's not the most entertaining outcome.
Good.
The most entertaining outcome anymore. So I'm going to go back to Zilich. It's Zilich.
What about
I'm impartial in the booth, by the way. I'm impartial. I just technically helped win the race for that team. So I'm like, hey, man, that'd be cool to be a part of. Trucks, I am going to say in the most just damaged thing ever, it's going to be Ty Majeski.
I think that's probably the most likely. If it's not Corey Heim.
Now, it is
hard to beat when a team is on their game, like Heim's team is. It's hard to beat a team like that at Phoenix, because Phoenix checks all the boxes for a team that is on their game, right? Yep. Track surface is smooth, so it's favoring a team with great engineering, great aerodynamics, great chassis, low CG, the whole thing. Right, I want to say engine program, but I don't understand their crate engines. But like, that's so and that's not a knock against Phoenix, but that's just one of those things, right?
Yep.
It's not entirely a cookie cutter track, but it can be in a sense of just speed is speed. Engineering resources are engineering resources. They show up at a place like Phoenix.
It's a great point because it is just like it. You
It's
need
predictable. It's fairly
vehicle
predictable.
performance is also just incredibly important there. If you can qualify well,
Right.
if you can, pit stops are important because it's hard to pass. Like all those things factor.
Is it fair to say that it's easily modeled? Like it's easy to model? None
Yeah.
of them are easy to model, but I'm just, some engineer is listening to this rolling his eyes at me, but like a track like that, you can just make a lot of hay. If you have a lot of engineering resources, you can make a lot of progress in developing your car for Phoenix.
I would agree with that statement 100%. And I think it's why we've seen these, it's almost always taken a win to win the championship because the need for just being at the top of your game, as you put it, is so important.
So. And that's the case too because of race manipulation. There's only four drivers that matter this weekend in each race.
Race manipulation. There we go. A new term. Josh, who you got?
Oh boy. I'm gonna go in Cup. I'm gonna go Briscoe. I think he has had one of those years where he's laid low, and it's gonna be real exciting. In Xfinity, I think you were wrong. I think Austin Hill would be the funniest story.
But he can't win it.
He can win the owners. This is
the owners. He in the 19. But
yeah, we didn't ask about owners championship.
We didn't ask about
nobody cares about that.
Yes. Oh, we're only picking the champ 4. We can't pick the race winner.
Oh
no, this is.
are we picking race winner?
This is the champion.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just assuming we're picking our winner and champion at the same time because it's taking a win to get it every time.
I'm gonna stick with Zilich then.
Okay. All right. I think
I'll go with Corey Heim for trucks.
Obviously, we could have split it up, but we're not going to do that. Too many picks. Make it easy. Your race winner is your pick. So, because it's in the championship 4. So who did you have?
So I have Zilich. Sorry, my internet is dying at the moment. It is telling me to get through these picks. So Zilich, and for trucks, I'm gonna go with Heim. That's if I'm forced to for you didn't hear that?
Nope.
I had Briscoe. Okay, well this is I'll have to edit this together.
Awesome. All right. Well, good picks. Those are our winners and champions. We just grouped it together. No new Apple reviews. What's wrong with you people? We did have some Spotify comments that were interesting. One says from Drengler, I don't really care who wins in Martinsville, but I'm wearing my Matt Kenseth gear this weekend. I'm guessing in reference to 2015 where he took out Logano. And John Chavy says, PK, so excited to see you race full-time at JRM next year. Yep, not happening, but thank you. Appreciate that. That does bring us to some little disappointing news, Landon. Kyle Busch, involved in a little bit of off-track drama at the moment. Made a bad investment to the tune of $8.5 million and now is a part of a group that is trying to bring light to the fact that they were involved in what they are terming an insurance scam.
Yeah, really saw that news on Busch family. Really feel for them on that. That's got to be devastating. A lot for them to go through. So, and Kyle's been through a lot in the last couple of years. His team, so team, family, all of it. So hopefully they get some closure that they need out of that. If not, all their money back.
That would be
if it's entitled to them.
Yep, that would be a great outcome. We're sorry to hear that for Kyle Busch and the Busch family, and wishing them the best in a great outcome. Hopefully, with that, it's going to be time to go championship racing. We'll be back after this coming weekend at Phoenix. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.